When you're ready to stop playing the lottery and actually learn how to do this, come on over to Galaxy Trading for thousands of hours of educational content, weekly class sessions, live trading, and a kick-ass group of traders. The best part? Actual timestamps and receipts of our work. Once you see it, you can't unsee it, and you'll never go back to the way you're trading right now. See you soon.
A long, long time ago, I can still remember how garbage indicators used to make me cry. But I knew if I took a chance that I could maybe do a happy dance, and maybe I'd be rich beyond desires. But Twitter furus, they made me shiver. Their every discord never delivered bad news from the broker. I was poorer than an old hooker. I can't remember if I cried when I read about Mando's same divide, but something told me he's the guy the day his model supplied. So bye-bye volume and RSI. Drove my leverage to a maxi that would make Sailor cry. In Galaxy Trading, we're on a rocket ride, singing this'll be the day I'll provide. This'll be the day I'll provide. Bye-bye volume and RSI. Drove my leverage to a maxi that would make Sailor cry. In Galaxy Trading, we're on a rocket ride, singing this'll be the day I provide.
All right, what's going on, everybody? No long intro tonight. We'll get right into it because I am running a few minutes late. So this is the first stream back. I've been out of town for a little bit, but we're getting back in the mix. This is the first full week we've been back doing our live trading and everything like that. We had an EDU call last night. But as always, I wasn't able to do the weekly prep the last couple, but we're back to do a prep tonight because July's over. We made it. And guess what? We still don't have a daily imbalance to the downside, suggesting any prolonged period of downside just yet. Okay, so we'll get into all of that. We'll go through a bunch of names. If you have any individuals that you want to take a look at, comment them under the original post that I had posted about 2 hours ago. That way I can just scroll through. If I have time at the end, I will get to the public requests. For anyone that's in the group, please just post your requests in the questions tab and we will get to those directly. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the few that I want to look at, specifically the indices, and then kind of move forward from there. All right. So as I share right now, please do me a favor, like this, whether you're on X, YouTube, Rumble, wherever you're watching the stream. I appreciate that. Some people had asked, oh man, I appreciate all the stuff that you're doing. What can I do to help? Okay. If you want to help, just retweet, just share. Any comments, anything's appreciated. Maybe a nice comment saves someone who is just looking from afar from falling into the furu trap and not learning how to do it for themselves. So, that would be. And of course, already we have technical difficulties with our server here. Outstanding. Okay. You guys know what I'm about to say. I'm not going to say it, but you know what I want to say right now. Yeah. But so if you posted a chat, my bad. I can't see it because we had a refresh in the whole platform that I used to stream. So that's fantastic. Off to a great start here tonight, guys. Really. But anyways, all right, let's just get into what everybody wants to talk about. We'll talk about market right now. All right, so let's just zoom out a little bit and we'll look at a overview of where we currently stand. Okay, so let me just zoom this a little bit and hold on. Come back over here. Where are we going? Okay, so going into this month, we knew that we had a chance at forming yet another bullish imbalance from a monthly perspective. Okay, so I personally think that this is a very good thing, right? We have created back-to-back imbalances for the first time since all the way back in 2020, okay, where we had one, two, and on the third was the one that got tapped, okay? So we are working with back-to-back monthly imbalances, which is if we crash one more time, we're gonna have a big problem. This is I'm sorry, this is completely out of my hands. I can't do anything about this. This is the platform that I use to stream. I haven't had a chance to even go look for something else that I can use because I just haven't had time to do it. I think I'm just gonna go straight through OBS and it's just gonna be on YouTube. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it on X unless I go into maybe get a StreamYard subscription. I can probably do it on StreamYard and not have to deal with any of this nonsense. But this is really it's just getting out of hand here. Every time I click off to go look at the chart, I it seems as if the stream crashes. So we're gonna do our best. If worst comes to worst, apologies to all the public viewers, but we'll just pop on over into the cantina and do the rest of it. Okay. So let's see. Hopefully it stays alive right now. Let's see. Yep. Okay, we're good so far. All right. So, like I said, we have back-to-back monthly imbalances, something that we have not done since 2020. Okay. Now, based on the results of today's market, you might be feeling a little bit more pessimistic and bleak. And I would say I would agree with you. I think it is, uh, you know, we haven't really solidified that with that daily imbalance where I believe that this is ultimately going to gravitate towards discount of our weekly range, which would be here. Okay. And more specifically, here where the breaker or the previous all-time high overlaps. But I think I think it could become. And again, we were talking about how, without that daily imbalance, it is still technically front running a little bit, right? We are kind of front running the retracement, but we are in the process of doing it right now. So as long as this overnight session, we don't make a high that goes up towards 23,358, you can finally form your first daily imbalance, something that hasn't happened since who even knows? I think it's sometime in April. Okay, since the last time we formed the daily bearish imbalance. Okay, and if that were to happen, then my expectation would ultimately be that price would gravitate just a tad lower to get us into this weekly imbalance, more specifically, where the weekly discounted bullish imbalance meets with our weekly bullish breaker. Okay, off those previous all-time highs. Now, another layer of confluence at that point leads us into our monthly, where we have that monthly bullish imbalance here. Okay, so there is a lot of confluence going around at that level. But realistically, until we get down there, I'm not really all that optimistic on longs for a multitude of reasons. We can very well go higher. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. We could still go higher because we haven't formed that daily imbalance yet. But as somebody who would like to rebuy into some things, the ideal location for me would be inside of this monthly imbalance, which lines up again with our discounted weekly bullish imbalance and weekly bullish breaker. Also daily discount, daily imbalance, and you have a little bit of liquidity down here in discount as well. So there's a lot of layers of confluence down there. That would be something that I would really like to happen. But again, until an imbalance forms to the downside, there's no reason to look for a prolonged period of downside, right? We've been saying this now. If you just go back to a call I've had in May, you're going to notice that I was saying the exact same thing because it has been the case. We have not formed any new bullish or bearish imbalance since April. Okay. It's been a really long time. And even if you want to get a little bit more in depth, the same would have the same thing applied when we were at those April lows. I don't, I always say this. I don't know if anybody actually does it, but please go back into my old tweets. You're going to have to scroll a little bit, but scroll back to April. I said the exact same thing. Until we see a bullish imbalance to the upside, there's no reason to look for a prolonged period of upside. It's the same exact concept. When you formed your first imbalance, that was at 18,000. At the highs here, we touched 23.8. Okay, so we ran 5,800 points, right? So just a little bit of confirmation. Is that going to hurt? Just to wait just for that little bit of confirmation? I don't think so, because anybody who's talking about short, and trust me, I got receipts from all these talking heads on Twitter talking about, oh, we're going down here, we're going down here, we're going down here. They see a red or black candle and they call for the end of the world. That's why we wait for the imbalance. When the imbalance forms, historically, that has always been the telltale sign that we will get that discount retracement. It's happened every single time throughout history. For every time that we've gotten a discount retracement on NASDAQ or SPY from a higher time frame perspective, we've had the imbalance to justify the move down into discount. Okay, I'm not talking, just throwing random stuff out there. Just go back and back it. You're going to see it. Okay, just go back and back test it. You will see. Okay. And that is the most important thing, for you to see it for yourself, because if you really want to do this successfully, you need to become independent. You do not need to be, looking for ideas from every Joe Schmo on Twitter. You can find your own ideas when you learn how to do this, right? It might take a little time, maybe a little speed bump here and there. But when you do learn how to do this for yourself, you will feel freed, and you'll be able to make decisions, and you'll be able to live with your decisions much better, knowing that you did them, right? You put in the work to get to that point. Okay. So again, everything that I say here, back to I want you to check for yourself and see it, because I appreciate you wanted to hear what I have to say and come on here to learn or pick up on something new. But at the end of the day, from my own personal experience, until you take the reins and start doing it for yourself, I don't think that you're going to reach that level that you want to reach. Okay. So that's NASDAQ. Very similar situation on SPY. We'll run through that quickly, and then I'll go through some of the individual names. Okay. So here is what we got on SPY. Now, in terms of new names that I don't typically look at, names that aren't on my watch list, I'm saving that for the weekend. That is going to be something that we talk about on Sunday, because I have thanks to, shout out to Kyle, there's a new way for us to find some tickers that we might not have looked at previously. Okay. So I'm going to be using Kyle's tool, and I'm going to be finding if there are any gems that I don't have already on this watch list. So anyway, same thing would apply. Back-to-back imbalances on the S&P. Believe it or not, the S&P actually did this in 23. So a little different from what we saw in NASDAQ, not doing that since 2020. But no big deal. Same type of situation. We are now at all-time highs, of course. So trading for that upside buy-side target is a little less fun. But the same thing applies here, right? Not in the process of creating a monthly, weekly, and even the daily. I'm not sure if it actually formed yet. No, we prevented it already. So there's not going to be a daily imbalance here on SPY either. Okay. I actually got into a daily bullish imbalance on SPY, which is pretty funny. But it just goes to show, and this just reiterates what I've been saying for so long now, that until that first imbalance forms, there's no reason for me to look lower, right? And this is something that has just been a recurring tweet. It's been great. It's been, oh yeah, once a week I could just go back. Hey, nice. I got a tweet. I got some content, easy. Because it's the same thing applies, right? Until that imbalance forms, there's no reason to be looking for that discount, right? And actually, believe it or not, we have a little bit more of a divergence between NASDAQ and SPY, because SPY actually did form a daily imbalance here. And guess what? From your low up to your high. Why am I using this low to a high? What did we form right here? That is a bullish breaker, okay? So when you form a bullish breaker, we have to reestablish the range. Low, high, lower low, break up and through, and we would anticipate the high of that sequence to act as a support level moving forward. Bingo. So not only do you have a bullish breaker, not only are you in discount of a bullish range, but you also have a bullish imbalance in discount. And the rest is history. Mando model completed at 6045, and the full completion took place at those all-time highs, which was at 6287. Okay? So I'm going to sound like a broken record. I'm going to keep saying it over and over again, but think about it. I know you've seen it. I know you have. Don't lie to yourself, or don't lie to me. I know you've seen people talking about the end of the world for the last 2 months. I know you've seen it. But now you know, until that daily imbalance forms, there's no reason to be looking for a discount retracement. There's no reason, right? Come on. Every one of these red candles you would have got stopped on, right? One of the tweets was even, if you had uh, if you knew about the daily imbalance idea, how many stop outs would that have saved you from, you know? And it's true. It's something that you can back test and prove it. So, but anyways, that's the two indices that I wanted to take a look at. Obviously, I know Dow and Russell. I don't really, while I do keep track of them, I don't necessarily deep dive them as much as the others. Much more concerned, and I typically things that are associated with Nasdaq and SPY versus the others. So, um, but that's just the big picture idea on the indices heading into August. Remember, we have monthly imbalances just below, which are in weekly and daily discount for Nasdaq right below. Okay, so I don't think the end of the world is coming anytime soon. And but the funny thing is, really, that ironically, a 800 point move is probably not even 800 point. Yeah, maybe 100 points. It would feel like the end of the world because we have not seen anything like that in how long, right? It's just funny how the mind works, and human psychology as a whole. But all right, it is what it is. Okay, so the next one that I wanted to take a look at before I go and scroll through some of the requests or suggestions, I got a couple that I do want to take a look at, because there are a few names that I actually looked at, and I saw that they were kind of in what I would deem that setter. Call it a setter. Basically, it's setting up. It's setting the table, if you will, for potential for the following month, and they're leading into this month. So it's worth talking about now because July is over. But one thing I want to look at here is Bitcoin being next. Okay, so Bitcoin, just from the higher time frame, of course, always starting from the higher time frame and working our way down. Bitcoin, not suggesting anything to the downside just yet from a monthly perspective, right? The same thing would apply. Monthly imbalance down here, just for reference. Monthly imbalance, discount. Monthly imbalance, discount. Okay, it's something that you could back test and you could prove to yourself. We don't have any monthly discounts, so the monthly is not really offering us all that much information. We are at all-time highs, and all-time high trading stinks because we no longer have an upside target other than the high that we already made, right? Beyond that, really have much to work with. But with Bitcoin, we are currently inside of a weekly bullish imbalance, which we did not take the previous high with. Okay, we did sweep previous week's low, and thus far we're actually back above it. Okay, so while right now, from a weekly perspective, I need to check the daily. I'm not sure if today, no, and we're still yet again not going to form a daily imbalance on Bitcoin's behalf either. So really, despite all of this, all we did was just take out last week's low, and right now we're above it. So a weekly close above that could actually be pretty bullish. Now, even if we were to sink deeper into this imbalance, I wouldn't really be worried too much about Bitcoin unless we were to see a move down through this imbalance. And at that point, I would expect discount of the range, but we're really not close to that. So it's not really even worth discussing. Just anticipating, what could happen next if this were to happen, right? Little if then statement for you. But that's Bitcoin. Not really much changing here, even despite today's pretty wicked move across the board. Okay. Once that daily imbalance forms, things will change and I'll start looking at it differently. But until then, not really much of a change on Bitcoin. Okay. Now, a little bit of a victory lap here, but that's the name of the show, so I got to do it. So let's talk about AMD, because AMD, I don't know if I put the updated tweet or not, and if not, you could just go on my page, just go to one of the more recent ones. This is my old one. This is from 2023. That was one of the first trades I really shared publicly. That one went pretty good. But similarly, just looking at it from a monthly perspective, which we have so many times. And actually, I should really look from a quarterly and work my way down on this just so I can show you. But This one for a while was a sweat. It was slow motion grind deeper and deeper into discount, but nothing inside that overarching idea had changed. And those with patience have been rewarded, right? So you have your low up to your high. You got your discount retracement into a bullish breaker. You reached with the wicks down into that final imbalance. And from that final imbalance, slingshot engaged, ready player one. And the bodies tell you the story, right? You hear me say this from time to time. Wicks will give you the heart attack, but the bodies are telling you the story, okay? And if you notice how these bodies are respecting this bullish imbalance, more specifically this bullish breaker, that's all you need to know. So I'm fully anticipating AMD to complete the Mando model at 227.30. Again, took a little bit longer than I would have wanted it to do it, but at the end of the day, if you're not working with a timed scenario, right, you're not working with options where there is a time constraint on the position, you put yourself in a pretty good spot by allowing this to have some breathing room, because nothing inside of this overarching setup had blown up whatsoever. So AMD, just a true winner. This was awesome. Still have high hopes for this one to continue. Now, it has been pretty vertical, so if there were to be some little hiccup, over the next week or so, I wouldn't be totally like, oh man, it seems pretty realistic. I mean, we've taken how many buy side targets this past month? I do like the way that we closed, and we have now relative equal highs up to 187.28. If there were to be a hiccup from a daily perspective, I would believe it would be pretty short lived, and we could start our trek and our continuation to ultimately complete. You have a daily breaker that we're currently inside of right now. Okay. So yeah, that's AMD. You actually created or you're in the process of creating a little sliver of a quarterly imbalance there, and we have officially confirmed a bullish monthly imbalance here. So AMD, just awesome. Turned out to be well worth the wait. A little bit of a headache there, and it always is, right? When you start adding a position deep in discount and you're not getting that initial, and here are just some annotations from throughout, but as you're adding the position, as we're getting deeper and deeper into discount, you're like, oh man, is it ever going to bounce? And then you get the first imbalance, like we say all the time, first imbalance, and then following the first imbalance at $100, you're up $76 from that point. So awesome job on AMD, and this is one that I would really prefer to see get some continuation. Your next area of buy side is at 187.28. Okay, we did sweep this here. Weekly close is going to be important. A weekly close below this 174.05 could suggest that we need to go see a lower imbalance. Okay, so just for reference there, we do have one in the process of being formed. So barring anything crazy that would occur tomorrow, as long as you close above 161, you're going to create a bullish imbalance on the weekly time frame here. I really don't want to see us retrace into discount of the most recent run. I guess a possibility, but not something that I'm really anticipating at all. So AMD, awesome. There is one that got absolutely hammered today, and I want to check in on, as well, as now, of course, we have tilted into the month of August, and that is ARM. Okay, so let's take a look at ARM, and pretty similar to AMD, but also at the same time a little different. Okay, so ARM was a little bit cleaner in terms of the retracement into the discounted bullish imbalance here on your quarterly. Very nice response out of that quarterly. And we do have relative equal highs and a completion of the Mando model at 188.75. I do anticipate that happening, but we did get rocked today. So now we got to dive in a little deeper into the smaller time frames to investigate a little bit. Okay. So this month, we did create an ever so slight sliver of a bullish imbalance there, while also meeting a bearish monthly here. Okay, I'm going to leave that on because we can also view that as a inverse later on down the line. So realistically, I would prefer it not to come back down here. I would prefer it to get ready to put its foot in the ground relatively soon, right? 138 seems reasonable. Let's see where we got with ARM here. Yeah. Okay, so we have a couple volume imbalances here on the weekly time frame, 133, 134, and also 137, 135. So we are approaching a few. The most ideal situation, in my opinion, here would be a weekly close above this 140.70, right? Sweeping a previous week's low and closing back inside while also remaining inside of a weekly imbalance. It's all pretty good, but it did get in half today, but it left behind relative equal highs. So no real concern for me whatsoever here. But needed a little more liquidity. That's all. So that's ARM, another one that just kind of met the same criteria there as AMD. Okay, I got a couple more, and then I'll poke back in and see what you guys are talking about. I'm glad we didn't get kicked from this live again just yet. But the next one that I wanted to take a look at is, this has been my darling for a long time. I had one of my close friends attack this name, so I had to put him on blast. I don't think he's really too concerned with it because he's doing pretty good for himself, but he came at my baby. I had to say something about it, and that baby being Upstart. Okay, so let's take a look at Upstart now. Okay. Now, it's funny because what I'm going to say, a lot of what I'm saying about Upstart right now is basically what I just talked about in NASDAQ. And the reason for that is because I do not change. I have two trading models. These are the two trading models I use. I don't flip flop every week. I don't, obtain a new trading strategy that I want to incorporate. I'm pretty straightforward guy. I run the same stuff over and over and over again because there's no reason to fix what is not broken. Okay. Now, if there's somebody comes along with something really good and I see, and maybe that's an area of vulnerability for me. Like, for example, I don't want to say that I'm not good at trading the opening 15 minutes. It's just something I prefer not to do. And the reason for that is just because I think that the risk, because of the volatility associated with open, is just a little too big for me. So I don't really do it for that reason. And I don't know really if there's anything that somebody could show me or tell me that would really change the fact that right, it's just very volatile, and it's not necessarily that you're going to be incorrect in terms of the direction that you're anticipating, but it could just be that it's maybe it's a 60 point opening range within that 15 minutes, and you don't want to take a 60 point risk within the first 15 minutes of the day and potentially drop 60 points in minutes. So that's why I just tend to avoid it. I mean, there's no in a position overnight or something, it's nothing I could do about it. I'm in it already, but I prefer to just wait until like 9:45. But going back to the initial point, what I talk about is just it's repeatable across anything. It's futures, individual names, crypto, whatever. It doesn't matter. But the same thing would apply. It's just the opposite direction as what we saw on NASDAQ, right? So on NASDAQ, we're talking about, okay, until I see a daily imbalance to the downside, I'm not anticipating, seeing that discount of the range, right? Well, same thing applies here. Until I see a daily bullish imbalance in something that is technically bearish. Why is this technically bearish? Because we took out all-time lows here. Okay, by taking out those all-time lows, you technically have a bearish market structure on this name. Okay, but as you know, and for anybody who knows the odd NAM model, you know that when we form that first imbalance in the opposing direction of your trend, so bearish trend, first imbalance in the opposing direction, I am anticipating a move towards equilibrium or above equilibrium, which would be discount in this case of that range. Same thing applies as what we're talking about on NASDAQ, guys. First imbalance forms, price gets in, and lift off. Okay, so so far so good. I'm anticipating Upstart getting to 96.43 to complete the Mando model on a monthly, quarterly, weekly, however you want to slice it. But it's the same number across the board. And your next quarterly imbalance is up at 116.90. At that point, that would be an area in which I don't believe that this would be the rejector, because this is a premium bearish imbalance, and we know that price likes to go to discount. So this would be viewed as a speed bump moving forward, likely a spot where you would get in, retrace, and then before taking the next leg higher. So just, again, just for reference, but start has been awesome. Just continued success on here. The monthly as well. We have officially formed the bullish imbalance here to close out July, which is also awesome. Would prefer us to not go see that until after we clean this 96.43. But beyond that, like I said before, we have pretty decent running room here. From the monthly perspective, there's not much in the way. There is that quarterly imbalance I referred to before, but again, not much more than just a speed bump. So Upstart from the higher time frame still looking fine. This is one that I've been a part of Upstart for a long time now. So we'll keep the train moving. We'll keep this obviously on high alert, high watch throughout the rest of this month. Okay. We got a couple more. Let's do a few more of mine, and then, like I said, I think luckily we only have a couple of the requests on the other side. And now I don't know if Lemonade reported today or tomorrow, but I'm actually curious to see what happened because I didn't check. Because Lemonade from the higher time frame looks pretty good. Let's see, where is it here? I don't know what it did, if it had earnings or not. When is earnings? Next week. Gotcha. Okay. So I'll preface this by saying I really personally don't like playing earnings, not because I don't think I'm going to be directionally correct, because I feel like I probably am. It's just, the movement and the way that you're going to trade it, the vehicle in which you're trading it, between IV, between, just potential crush of that contract, right? You could get the move in the direction that you wanted to, and then by open, it's gone, right? That's why I don't like trading earnings. I'll actually tell a quick story on one of my pretty bad losses, actually, from I think it was around last year, maybe around this time last year. I forget. Anybody in the group, you'll remember this, but I was trading Microsoft, and it looked great, and I was up a pretty decent chunk, and I just this is my own fault, but I didn't look and see that there was earnings after hours. And, first look in after hours. Oh, nice. We completed the model. Sweet. In after hours. And then you open it up and it's down like 20, $25. It's like, oh man. So it did what I wanted it to do, but I had I basically left it up to the trading gods there. I wasn't able to act on that setup. And then, so earnings, I mean, look, if you're on the right side of them, it's fantastic. If you're not, it's painful. But yeah, so I don't like front running earnings, but if I'm already in something and it has earnings, so be it. It's not like I'm going to cut it because there's earnings or anything like that. But anyways, here's Lemonade's. Same thing applies. First imbalance formed right here. Upside progress beautifully. Okay, we got into a monthly imbalance back in November, and since have retraced deep into discount of this bullish range and are starting to make our incline. This past month, we created a bullish monthly imbalance, which is very encouraging. And, something that varies between Lemonade versus, say, maybe an Upstart or an AMD or even an ARM for that matter, is that I actually do anticipate Lemonade getting into this first. And the reason I think Lemonade could get into this 35.75 monthly imbalance first is because this is a down close candle and leading us into that next, potential leg higher here to complete the Mando model at 53.85. I would think that we're going to need a little bit more juice, right? So if we come back over and we just look at the smaller time frames here, let's just see. Yeah, okay. So this is something that has been recurring a lot lately, and I want to just put it out into the universe again. For those of you that aren't in the group, you get to hear this for the first time. Everybody in the group, you've probably heard this numerous times, but I'm going to say it again because, like I said, this is something that has been recurring quite a bit recently. Okay, so if you're just looking at Lemonade, maybe, I wonder why, this would reject at this point. It doesn't really make sense for a rejection to occur here when we know that the drawn liquidity is here. And my rebuttal to that would be, yeah, we got to look close. Okay, what do I mean by look close? Okay, this candle in particular, this is the close of the December candle. Look at where we opened January. Here, right? Just think of the the concepts, and I was just talking to Rico about this, but just think of this: open, high, low, close. This is what these candles are telling you in the first place. So but think about it. If we closed our December candle here and opened our January candle here, that's a gap. That's a volume imbalance. Okay, so by us immediately erasing this to the downside to go chase discount, in which we know happens quite a bit, this level is still valid. This is a volume imbalance. There's a lack of liquidity that's taking place inside of this specific region, right? That is a gap. Now look how precise we get into this volume imbalance and retrace a little bit. Now, do I think that this is the ultimate rejector to send us down through this low and even lower? Absolutely not. The draw on liquidity to me is still higher, but when you have bearish imbalances on the way to get to your ultimate destination, I call those speed bumps, okay? This slows price down before getting to its final target, or what we would call a high resistance liquidity run. In a perfect world, you're going to get your discount retracement, you're going to look left, and you're going to have no imbalances overhead. That's what we would call a low resistance liquidity run. Those are ideal, right? I hate this platform so much. I don't even know. Can somebody tell me where we left off? Oh my gosh. I hate this platform so bad. I don't even know where it cut out, guys. Apologies. I don't know what to tell you. I'm officially done. I'm selling all my shares of this tomorrow. Officially. This is getting unbelievable. Please, somebody. I don't even know if it stopped. Did it stop on your end? I'm looking through the chat right now to see. I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody complaining about it just yet, so that's good. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where I left off. Somebody please come to the rescue. Type in the live chat and you heard everything up to lemonade. So it didn't cut off. It's just cutting off on my end and cut for 1 second. Okay. Just did it again. It just did it again. It's not stopping the screen share or anything. Like, this is getting ridiculous, guys. Oh boy. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, okay. JP's watching on X, so he wasn't able to. All right, that's fine. All right, I just wanted to make sure that we got all this. But again, I wouldn't anticipate this being the ultimate rejector because our draw. All right, this is the last chance at this. It's keep. All right, this is the last chance for me here, guys. Sorry, we're gonna have to cut it short if it doesn't cooperate here. I know you guys were saying that it's not really problematic, but on my end, it's just it just keeps cutting out. So yeah, that's. All right, apologies. I got to cut it here. We'll pick up again over the weekend. For anybody who commented an individual name, we'll get to them this weekend. I just can't deal with this. It's just flicking off every 2 seconds on my end. I know it's fine. Yeah, I'm running into a showtime imbalance with this streaming platform. I'm going to figure out a way to get off of this and not have to use it anymore because over the last 2 months, all I've gotten was grief from this crap. So look, apologies. I got to cut this short. We did go over a bunch of names. If you want to watch the playback, there will be more. I will be posting a lot more charts in August and beyond. I'm trying to be the top dog here. All right. So, and I can't do that without all of your help. So any support, whether it's a like, a comment, anything, appreciated as always. But we got a lot to do over this coming couple of months. We're really locking in. Post vacation Mando is recharged and refreshed, and we're ready to go. So, thanks for everybody who joined. And sorry that this is a problem, but we'll get to the bottom of this, and you're a part of history here, guys. You. This is the end of. When you're ready to stop playing the lottery and actually learn how to do this, come on over. When you're ready to stop playing the lottery and actually learn how to do this, come on over to Galaxy Trading for thousands of hours of educational content, weekly classes.